In this video, I'm going to be replacing the parking brakes in my Nissan Titan. These are under the rear rotors. I'm currently replacing the rear rotors and pads, and we're going to put parking brake hardware and shoes on. And I've gone ahead and got my rotors off, and I deleted the parking brakes a while ago, so we're going to put them back in. Before we put them back in, we're going to want to clean up these high spots. So these are all the way around. Those need to be lubricated, so we're going to start by wire brushing them and then brake cleaning them. So after that, the next step will be to hit those same spots with anti-seize. I'm just going to wait a second for that brake clean to dry. So this is what you need. I've got a box of Wagner brake shoes. You actually only need to buy one box. One box has 2 sets. I bought 2 boxes thinking that there would be 1 set per box. So I've got an extra one. If anyone needs one, let me know. I've got the Dorman parking brake levers. You're going to need those, and hardware kit. And that's got all our springs and our pins and clips and these adjuster things as well. Okay, let's get some anti-seize on there. So one thing to note, all these shoes are identical, but directionally they are not identical. This end's a little different than this end, and it will also matter which way they are facing. So they're slightly different in that direction as well. So we're going to have to get figured out how they line up, and we'll get them installed. So before you remove yours, I recommend taking pictures and doing one at a time so you can line it up the right way. These are they're kind of like an actuators or a lever. They attach to the cable right here. So normally it's like that, and then when the cable is pulled, it pulls the hook out, and this part pushes up on the pad to separate them and push them up against the rotor or drum. So I'm going to make sure that's greased, because these do rust, these do seize, and then your parking brakes will not work. Alright, installing these parking brake shoes isn't that complicated, but it is a big pain in the ass to do. I recommend just leaving it deleted and not replacing them. But if you do want to replace them, you can follow along here. So where our lever goes, we're going to use this end, and where our adjuster goes, we're going to use this end. So the adjuster goes on this side. So that means that your top pad will look like that, and the bottom one will look like that. And how these go on, got these little pins, where's my hand, and these clips. So the pin goes through the back. There's a hole. You see the pin come through there. You have to push it back out a little bit. So your pin has to come through. Then your clip over top. And then your clip has to go through, or your pin has to go through the clip. And you kind of want to hold it with one hand like this. And you're going to need some needle nose pliers to push and grab, and then twist it like that until it's turned. There we go. Well, top one secured, that was easy. It's usually a lot harder than that. We also got to get our lever in the air. We should have done that first. So we need to get our lever in here. Let's get that done before we put our bottom one on. So we just installed the lever. We put some grease on it first. That came with the hardware kit. And how I did that was I pushed the parking brake down a little bit so the cable goes in, and then you have to open the hook up or turn the hook up, push the lever up, and then let the hook drop into the slot on the cable, and then you kind of have to hold it, support it here while you release the parking brake fully, and that will lock it into place and hold it there until the pads and springs are installed. Now if you were to pull that parking brake in again without installing the rest, it could drop out again. But with the parking brake released, that cable is pushing out and holding it there in place. Okay, here I'm doing the same thing, and I'm trying to do it all with one hand because I'm going to need to use the pliers on the other hand. So the bottom one's a lot harder to see. Well, we had it, but no. There we go. And you're going to want to move these generally where they're going to be. Like that. Like that. And we're going to want to get our adjuster ready. Adjuster, we're going to coat it with grease so it doesn't seize together. It probably will anyways. And we're out of grease, so we might just use anti-seize for the rest of it. Okay, our adjuster looks like that, and it's going to go right there. I'm just going to open it a tiny bit. Let it stay there. Now we're into the most annoying part of the job, is the return spring. I had trouble with the other side. It's a very strong spring and hard to get from where it's supposed to go. And you can see I mangled my spring hook here. And one problem that these parking brakes have is the pad material separating from the shoe and coming off. If you hear any grinding from your rear end, it could be that. So we got to go from a hole here to a hole here behind this, and that's a little bit difficult. We're going to drop our spring in like this. I'll try again. So we got our top in. I'm gonna have to get a lot closer. So after the nightmare of installing this spring is over, move over and set our adjuster in here and then install that spring. That spring is pretty easy. And then we can test fit our rotors, make sure it goes on over top, the hub spins freely, and then we can press the brake pedal and see if the pads engage the inside of the rotor, and release it again. So we'll just test that, and we can adjust our adjuster out if necessary. Okay, so our rotor is contacting the pads, and I think it's down here at the bottom because this looks like it is not even. So we're moving pretty freely there. And we're not. So okay, so it's just barely contacting. I'm going to leave it where it is. So that concludes the parking brake portion of this video. We'll carry on with the caliper and pad install. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. And we'll see you in the next one.